how to put your ego aside and do the right thing. First of all, if you're having trouble with responding, reacting emotionally, not being able to control yourself, when people irritate you or say something that hurts you or upsets you, this could be for any situation. This could be if you're being contacted by an ex who's irritating you, bothering you, knows how to push your buttons, and knows how to initiate a response from you. Remember, that's sometimes what people want to do. They want your attention. Your attention is how they feed. It's going to power them up. Your attention is power. Remember that always. So this isn't easy. So as with everything, remind yourself, first and foremost, it's okay to react and respond this way. It's completely normal and natural. It's not your fault. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay? Is there room for improvement? Of course. There will always be room for improvement. The important thing is to be improving, to be on a path of continuous improvement. Now, how do we measure our continuous improvement in life? Is it day by day? No. The best way to measure it is by week. So every week, just growing a little better, a little stronger, and small improvements, but steady. So let's dive into this, okay? How to bypass your ego and do the right thing. This is not easy, okay? Especially when we're in the grip of our ego. Our ego is, you can compare it to a child or an alarm for a house. When we respond, let's say someone says something to us or sends us a text or does something that activates our ego, and our ego wants to fight back, wants to defend, wants to hurt back, wants to respond, wants to say, I'm better than you. Remember that usually is coming from, almost always is coming from a place of defensiveness. That means it's coming from a place of fear. It's coming from a place of, I'm afraid, I feel threatened, and that's the ego that feels threatened. It's not you, it's your ego. If you're thinking, that sounds a bit weird, it's not me, it's my ego, aren't we the same thing? Well, we'll get to that in a second. So it is not something that is wrong. It's not something that you have to view yourself as, oh, I'm not a good person, I have this problem. No, we all have these responses. Even the best negotiators, the best diplomats, the most peaceful people on earth, even the strongest, most secure people have those feelings. Your ego, when it feels threatened, is going to release. First of all, it begins with thoughts, but in many cases, it has become instinctual. An instinctual response to protect itself. Okay? Now, as I said, even the best people, the most patient, spiritual, diplomatic, strongest, are going to feel that instinctual, that being pissed off or angry or irritated and that want to hit back. It's just, how are you going to respond to that feeling? That's important. So let's talk about 5 tips, okay, to do this. Now, the first tip, as I've already covered a little bit, is understanding why this happens, right? When you understand that this is coming from a place of fear, you're feeling threatened, um, that can encourage you to train yourself to respond in a stronger way. And as you train yourself to respond in a stronger way, you'll become that. You'll become stronger. That's how we become stronger. These little things that pop up every day, they can happen daily. It can be with our family. It can be with the people we love, our relationship. It can be with our coworkers, people at the gym. It can just be a random person on the street who looks at us in a certain way, and it just activates that inner, I want to smash you, or I want to hurt you, whatever it is, right? So the first thing is awareness, right? Because if you don't have that awareness, you're going to be in the grip of your emotions and you're going to respond unconsciously. Unconsciously means without awareness. Your ego is going to take a hold of you and it's going to take you along for a ride. Now remember that when that feeling is triggered of anger, or you want to take revenge, someone's just said something hurtful to you and you want to hit them back, remember that's like an alarm, right? And it's there for a reason, right? But in our modern world, in our society today, it's happening for the wrong reasons a lot. Kind of like a car alarm that's being triggered by an earthquake or someone driving by, or one of those garbage trucks drives by and vibrates and the car alarm goes off, right? So the car alarm is there to protect you from thieves or all that sort of thing, but the car alarm can sometimes go off for the wrong reasons, and then it's a nuisance when it does, right? And for us, when our car alarm goes off, when our ego is activated and wants to fight, it can physically take a toll on us because it's releasing stress hormones and chemicals, and it's putting our body and our mind under stress. Not only that, we can wind up thinking and dwelling about the person that hurt us and wasting a lot of time and energy. And at the end of the day, we're hurting ourselves. Okay? Our time and energy can be way better applied to other things. And I know that some of you are listening to this and thinking, yeah, this is all right, but doing it is hard. How do you change? How do you, not waste your time? How do you avoid this? Well, here are some tips for that. The first and foremost tip, I'm sure many of you have heard this, but don't respond so quickly. When especially if you have that opportunity not to respond immediately. Let's say someone sends you an email or a text, and your immediate response is to lash out or hit them back because they hit you or hurt you. Take a break. Tell yourself, you can write this as a note to remind yourself, because it applies to a lot of other things, including being depressed or being angry or sad or having anxiety. Write this down. This is normal and it's not going to last. The state of mind you're in at that moment, it's not going to last. You're going to feel differently. You may even do a complete 180 in a few days and feel love again towards that person, So understand that it's just a very temporary state of mind. And yes, you feel at that moment that you want to hurt this person, you dislike this person, you have all these bad feelings for this person. You feel that that's really how you feel, but it's just a moment, it's just a temporary feeling, and it's going to go away. It will change. Okay? So remember, remind yourself that this state is not going to last, and that your ego is just simply activated like an alarm or like a child. So step away. Give yourself time before you respond. Another part of that tip is, you can always write down a response and not send it. That's an excellent tip that a lot of people use and use successfully. Because once you've said everything that you want to say in an email or a text or whatever, it can release it. It's like a form of expression. Then you can delete that and write a text or a reply or a response or a call back or whatever it is from a place of strength, from a place of wholeness, from a place of wisdom. And when you do that, it's the best response you can give to someone who's trying to hurt you, because you're not going down to their level, which is what they want. They want to hurt you because they want to see your weakness. They want to know that you are as weak and as threatened and as they are. But if you respond, and when you respond from a place of love and wholeness, what you're actually going to be showing them, you'll be hurting them much more than if you respond lashing out and fighting. That's what they want, okay? And the goal isn't to hurt them, to want to hurt them, but one of the I guess symptoms, or one of the side effects of you responding from a place of wholeness, strength, maturity, love, one of the side effects of that is going to be that they could feel like you're in a different league to them, like they can't touch you, they can't affect you, and you'll put them in their place. Another side effect is that you'll diffuse the situation between you two, and again, they will probably wind up having love and respect for you. Even your worst enemy can wind up respecting you if you are able to bypass your ego, come out of the grip of your ego, and respond from a place of love, respond from a place of wholeness. It's not weakness. Don't think that, if you respond to someone who's punched you or hurting you, I don't mean physically punched you. That's different. But if someone's like trying to hurt you with their words or put you down, when you respond with a place of love, that's the strongest thing you can do. You put them in their place. You teach them, a lesson, and you're above all saving yourself a lot of stress and pain and all of this. So that's the first step: is step away, take a break. Okay. Now, linked to that first step is step number 2, which, I've actually written notes for a change. So number 2 is respect yourself by creating distance with the source. You're thinking, isn't this the same as step 1? Yes, it's similar, but what I mean is, from now on, you will learn to create you will make adjustments with your relationship. So if it's someone who's in your family, or if it's a friend, or if it's someone that you see a lot, a coworker, someone at your gym, well, now you can create a little bit more distance between you. I'm not saying you have to cut ties. No. All it is a little bit of distance. In my videos I talk about how great relationships should work. Even if it's a love relationship, is one person takes a step towards you, does something nice, does something that serves you, whether it's being supportive, loving, whatever, and then the other person reciprocates and takes a step towards, and that's how great relationships are formed. But then when someone does something to hurt or drain or whatever, does something that doesn't serve you, that hurts, that's when you should step away, create some space, distance. You don't have to sever a tie just because of one thing, no. But you step away, and then you're going to find that every relationship in your life is going to have a different closeness. It's going to have a different amount of space in between. So, tip number 2, respect yourself by distancing yourself from the source or sources that are triggering your ego, that are irritating you, okay? So be smart. Don't constantly surround yourself with people who are hurting you, making you feel like crap, irritating you, demeaning you, whatever it is, okay? So respect yourself by distancing yourself. And as I always say, don't put your energy into ignoring people, but instead apply your energy into your goals, into the activities in life that energize you. So just move towards those activities more. And the rest will be taken care of. You will automatically move away from the things that hurt you. And then if they reach out again and reach back, then you can, it's up to you if you want to take that risk again and that chance and forgive and say, okay, well, I'll take one step towards you and see how it happens. And then that way you can find, well, with my parents, this is the perfect amount of distance. If I get too close, we can start to irritate each other. Same with your friends. Well, with my friends, I can have this much distance. With my lover, too. Don't think that because you're married or in a relationship that you have to be like this. No. Every relationship's going to have its own space and distance, okay? So, let's see what I've written here for step number 2, just so I don't miss anything. Respect yourself by distancing yourself and find the correct amount of distance for each relationship. Then use your awareness to assess, this is important, use your awareness to assess your response. Let's say, for example, you're unable to do all of these things and you lash out and and that's fine. Remember, tell yourself it's okay, it's normal, it happens to everyone, right? So if you do lash out and you do say hurtful things back to the person, well, assess your response. Step back and look at what you did, and be like, oh, okay, this is what I did. And then plan to make steps to improve your ego's behavior or to improve your awareness so that you can help to recondition your ego, what that means is improve and adjust the way that your ego responds. Because everyone has a unique ego, and for some people, their ego is going to be more irritated than others. And we can all change and adapt and improve our ego based on the following steps I'm going to talk about. So, step number 3, train yourself to bypass the ego. Now, how do we do that? So, let's first talk about visualization. Is a great way to help. So, what you can do is spend a couple of minutes a day, and 90% of people are just not going to bother doing this sort of thing, and that's why most people suffer and struggle and have problems, and then go on YouTube and try to find videos of how am I going to do this and that, and then trying to find a quick fix, something that's going to well, the truth is that like everything, it takes training. You've got to train yourself, okay? And an incredible tool for helping in situations like this, but it can work in preparing yourself for interviews or meeting girls, or if you're a girl meeting a guy, you can visualize the event that you're trying to train yourself to be better at. For example, what you can do is you can sit down and you can just visualize someone who's just come up to you and has said something hurtful to you, and visualize your response. So you can close your eyes and then just envision, it could be someone who's always irritating you or always bothering you. It could be an ex, it could be a coworker, it could be a friend. Just visualize them coming up to you, maybe making fun of you or irritating you or hurting you in some way or putting you down, intimidating you, whatever it is, and then visualize you responding to them from a place of love, strength, wholeness, and power. Visualize it, because what you're doing is you're preparing, you're planning, you're creating that possibility in your mind. And as I've said in a lot of videos, what usually triggers our ego, or what usually, hurts us is, as in boxing, what knocks out people isn't a strong, powerful punch. No, if you watch fighting, if you know anything about fighting, you'll know that people get knocked out with little slight touches on the chin or whatever. And it's the punches that people don't see that usually knock you out. So you get knocked out and you wake up and you're like, whoa, what was it that hit me? You know, it's a punch that comes from an angle that you can't see. Okay, that's what usually knocks people out. It's the same principle with when we get hurt. It's usually something that we haven't expected, we haven't planned for, we're not prepared for, and so our ego is just terrified. It's like, fear, fear, attack, attack, defend, defend, fight, fight, right? So if you spend a minute, it just takes a minute to close your eyes. You can do it now after this video, you know, and you can write down and apply this technique for so many things. You can do it for your interviews if you have an interview coming up, or if you're going on a date. Visualize yourself being confident. I tell you know, with a lot of the clients that I work with, the people that I do private sessions with, you know, we do a lot of visualizing. You know, close your eyes, visualize yourself happy, laughing, confident, and then pay attention to the details of that visualization. What are you wearing? How do you look? So visualization is huge. A lot of fighters use this. A lot of successful people visualize themselves with money, with wealth, whatever you want, with a beautiful family. If you want children someday, if you want to be married and have a family, visualize your children. Visualize them. What are they going to look like? Imagine them running up to you and giving you a hug. You know, if you want to be in a great relationship, the same thing. Visualize yourself in a great relationship, doing those things. Because the mind is so powerful, and as we should all know by now from, you know, if you've been following this channel, watching all these videos, everything stems from thought. You think it and you will make it, and it will happen. So visualizing, you know, and thinking all these things creates those possibilities in your mind and allows you to actually manifest them, do them, okay? So step, I don't know what number are we in, but we're, I think, what was it, number 3? is visualize, okay? So visualize and train yourself to prepare. It's worth it. It's worth it, okay? So on this note, I've written down here something that's important. You know, one of the things that, remember this, when we feel like we're in the grip of our emotions, of our ego, and we just want to lash out and, you know, respond and hurt whoever's hurt us, one of the things that hurt us the most as humans isn't necessarily someone saying something bad to us or putting us down or whatever. It can be people not understanding us, misunderstanding us. Being misunderstood is one of the things that can hurt us the most. And why is that? I believe because our greatest fear of all, where almost all of our fears, anxiety, are rooted and stem from, ultimately, if you trace back all your fears, they're going to eventually come back to the ultimate fear of all, which is fear of death. Okay? And being misunderstood ties into that, because if you go throughout the history of humans, especially men, we are extremely afraid of death, and you can see it in the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. You can see it today, even with all these powerful leaders. They want to beat death. It's not just with powerful leaders, musicians, artists, everyone. We all want to be remembered. We want to secure and establish a legacy so that even once we're gone from this world, we'll still be alive in some way. The pharaohs, you know, used to build pyramids and fill their tombs with all kinds of things because they believed in the afterlife. You know, they would need all these things, you know. So being misunderstood plays into that. it plays into, well, how will I be remembered? How will people be thinking of me? Okay, and remember, when we are worried about how other people think of us, that's how we enslave ourselves. And that's the opposite of the previous video I made, which is how to free yourself and let go. One of the greatest things you can free yourself from and let go is what other people think of you. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that you have to completely be careless and like, oh, carefree, and I don't care what anyone thinks of me at all. No, balance. Always balance is important, okay? Because it does matter to a certain extent what people think and how you're remembered. It can affect your family. It can affect your children, your children's children. So there's a lot of, reasons why that is important, how you're remembered, how you're regarded as. But don't let it get out of hand, okay? Bring it into check. And it's, most of us, we're way out of whack and we care way too much what people think. So bring it back, and train yourself. Practice doing things, practice that. Practice. So visualize. Okay? So, yeah, let's just make sure I'm getting everything here. So, lashing out ties into train yourself. Yeah, so train yourself by visualizing to embody that wholeness. Visualize yourself responding in a mature way to people from a place of love. It only takes a minute to do that, okay? And if you want to do it longer, that's even better. And then the final point is meditation. Super important. Super, super important for everything in life, okay? If you can meditate even just 5 minutes a day, you're going to see the powerful effects in your life, okay? Meditating energizes you in a way that's incredible. It's probably the most important thing in my life to do, is to meditate. It's not only going to help energize the hell out of you, because it's going to grow your self-respect for yourself. You're going to feel like you're able to do something difficult. And it's not even difficult, but in our world today where we're constantly rushing, doing what? Tindering, texting, rushing to do nothing important. That's what we're trapped in, a cycle of rushing to do nothing, right? So if you can take a break from that, the respect that you're going to earn for yourself subconsciously is immense. But just taking a break, it's 5 minutes to focus on your breathing, your presence, being in stillness. It's like putting the brakes on. I've talked about this in a lot of my other videos of how, I used to do this in exams, where they'll say, okay, start your exam. And everyone's just like rushes in. I would spend a minute to just sit there, right? It gives you power. It gives you that sense of you're in control, that you're taking control of your time. You're taking control of your life. You're going to take a break now while everyone else out there is rushing around like headless chickens. You're going to take a break. It's incredibly empowering, and if you go throughout the history of human civilization, some of the most powerful people, even today, people like Steve Jobs, like Elon Musk, like you name it, will be meditating. Even people like Donald Trump meditate. How do they meditate? On the golf course, right? It's their meditation. They're bringing their focus to something simple. Now, I'm not talking about those types of meditations. I'm talking about the most powerful form of meditation, which is to sit in stillness, to do nothing. You could even lie down on your back and be completely still. The only thing that should be moving is your chest up and down, and you want to focus on your breathing. And yes, your mind's going to start racing. You're going to think of a lot of things, and you're going to think, I suck at meditating. But no, that's the point of it. The point of it is to train. You started off, the first time you're not going to be able to focus on your breathing because your mind's going to be racing with thoughts. But then the next time, you'll be able to focus on 3 breaths instead of 0. Then the next time after that, even better, and then you'll start to notice gaps between your thoughts, breaks between your thoughts. And that's a sign that you're improving. And everyone can do this. It's like everyone can ride a bike or do push-ups, okay? Everyone can do it. It just takes practice. It's just most people will never do it to begin with. And 80% of people who do it to begin with won't do it a second time because they think they suck at it. No, just keep doing it. It's incredibly empowering. I sometimes do it in phases. I'll meditate for weeks and then I'll take a few weeks off because the amount of energy that it gives me is tremendous. I did a 10-day silent meditation once and it energized me for a year and a half. No jokes. Like, I was buzzing. I was buzzing for months. Just buzzing from that power and that. So just imagine these people who are doing this every day. The power they must have, I mean, I can't even fathom. You know, I do believe that humans are capable of doing incredible stuff. You know, we hear like in Buddhism or Hinduism of like, you know, people that could do incredible things, or Jesus, for example, who could transform or heal. Yes, I believe in all of that. I believe that's all possible. The only reason we can't is because we're all enslaved now in this world. No one's meditating. Everyone's rushing around like headless chickens. But if you meditate and you know, forge and wield that tremendous focus and power, it's so helpful in so many things. So, as a final step of how to train yourself to not respond, you know, out of the grip of your ego, is meditate more. You're going to train yourself to observe the ego and to realize the ego isn't who you are. You've got your lungs that breathe, your heart that beats, your skin that feels, your mouth that tastes, your, you know, tea that is yummy, and your dates. These are good dates. You can have bad, toxic dates, you know, people who show up and don't look like their Tinder photo or Bumble photo. And then you can have good dates that are delicious. So dates are high in potassium. Potassium is really good for you. Good for your muscles. Good for before workout or after. And I like planting. I dry the seeds and I plant them, water them, and then you have a palm, date palm. And I plant them around. Excuse me, by the way. But yeah, so as you meditate more, it's amazing. I highly recommend it. You'll start to understand what I'm talking about more. Go online. There's a great site, organization called Headspace. They have applications you can download that will guide you through meditating. There's plenty of guided meditations online. I'm going to start doing some guided meditations as well where you can download them. Okay? So meditate, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, or start with 5 minutes a week, whatever, but just get it in. It's so empowering. And the visualizations, okay? So I hope that helps. That's just a few tips right there. Obviously, there's going to be lots more ways and methods. Those are just some that have come to mind. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Thanks again for everybody out there who's connecting and sharing. Hope these videos help, and I will absolutely continue to make more and more. And thanks to everyone for all their recommendations and ideas on, you know, videos and topics and other things like that. Okay, so thank you, and then we'll look forward to the next one. Adios for now. Bye.